back to More Than Mindfulness. I'm Becky Moeller from Lifehouse Fit Body and Soul. All right, so today I want to talk to you about this beautiful little item here. This is something we talk about a lot in our program. It's what I refer to as an empty cup. And this empty cup is really a Zen idea. So let me tell you just the little story that goes with it. So a young apprentice comes to study underneath a great Zen master, and he sits down at his table and they're talking, and the master pulls out a cup and begins to pour him some tea. And he just continues to pour the tea, and the cup is slowly filling until the cup is all the way full. And then all of a sudden the tea starts to spill over the edges, and now it's spilling all over the table and into the student's lap. And finally the student says, "Stop, my cup is full. It's full." And the Zen master pauses, probably with a twinkle in his eye, and says, "Ah, yes, my young student, your cup is full, so there is no room for me to pour the tea. There is no room for me to teach you anything." So this idea of a full cup or an empty cup points to the space that's available in our head and our heart. And when I started on this journey, and I was in a lot of trauma, and I just felt like everything inside of me was unraveling and breaking down. And my sponsor or my teacher would tell me, "You're clearing space. You're clearing space for something new." So when we talk about emptying our cup, why do we want to empty our cup? Because if our cup is full, then there's no room for God, a higher power, to teach us a new way of being in the world, a new way of seeing things, a new way of understanding. A Christian scripture talks about becoming a new creature in Christ, but you can't become a new creature until you are willing to allow the old creature to die or dissolve. This is a big picture idea and a painful process, but it's also a mindful present moment idea. And it's something you can practice doing every moment of every day without adding anything to your to-do list. It can be a way of being in the world, to one moment at a time, learn how to empty your cup. So that's what we're going to practice today. First, I want to show you just some ideas about how do I empty my cup physically? Okay, because remember from last week, our entity is a physical entity, a mental entity, an emotional entity, and a spiritual entity. And we're trying to create space for that spiritual essence of who we are to take the lead in our life. So that usually means the other three parts of us, we need to empty our cup. So one of the simplest ways to do that, again, is through the breath. You'll hear me talk about breath probably every week because it's the foundation. It's the magical thread between your physical experience and your spiritual essence. And it's available every moment of every day. So to learn to use that breath as the vehicle that you ride through life and from a place of mindfulness. So if you take a deep inhale and then you exhale, those deep exhales are really effective at clearing space. What I just did was called Ujjayi breath. It's the kind of breath that we use in yoga class. So how to breathe with Ujjayi breath, it's one way to breathe that can help you clear space physically and activate the relaxation response in your brain, which clears that physical tightness, the physical constriction or stress that you actually feel in your body. So we inhale through the nose and we exhale back out the nose, but we have a slight constriction in our throat. So almost like we sound like Darth Vader, or that we're trying to fog a mirror, like Okay, so you want that constriction that you feel in a but instead you're going to keep your lips closed and send that air back out the nose. All right, so let's try that again. Deep inhale and try to send the air all the way below your belly button. And exhale. Really nice. See if you feel a little more empty, a little more clear. That's Ujjayi breath. Just a very simple way to clear space, to empty your cup physically. In our full program, we also use exercise to empty our cup. And we have a 90-minute practice that starts with really strong cardio. So we are throwing our body all around. We're punching, we're fighting, we're kicking. And every time we have a strong movement, we add a strong exhale, and it's a physical release. And why do we do that? Because it helps us to empty our cup. So the way you move and exercise can help to clear space mentally, emotionally, physically. That's one of the reasons why exercise is cited again and again as one of the most effective strategies to regulate and stabilize anxiety and depression. So when we use exercise and movement and our physical body to empty our cup, what we're doing is we're really shifting the way our brain is working and even the way our blood is circulating through our body and into our brain. And what it does when we use cardio in this way, we actually shift the blood flow to a different part of the brain, so that if the brain is in an obsessive looping pattern, and maybe you've experienced this, I know I have, especially when I was in a really difficult part of my life where I was experiencing a lot of trauma. This part of my brain that's attached to my limbic system, my survival system, would just loop and loop and loop in obsessive thinking patterns. I would be so afraid of what was happening next, or I would be reliving the past and what had already happened. And I would find myself in really bondage to what was happening in my brain. And with all of those thought patterns came a whole wave of emotions that were very powerful, that absolutely filled my cup to overflowing. There was no space for anything else. And that was so difficult because at that time in my life, I needed peace more than I needed anything else, even more than I needed breath, it felt like. But in so many parts of my day, I couldn't find it because my cup was so full of my own mental chatter and the waves of emotion that came along with that. So exercise and movement was a vital tool for me. And I didn't even know I was doing it because I've taught fitness classes at universities for the last 15 years or so. And that was just my job. So I would be on a couch or in bed all day. And then I had to drag myself out of bed somehow and go teach my class and put on a face and get out there and teach this fitness class to these university students. And that was a huge gift in my life because teaching that class and getting into my body and moving and releasing and breathing took me out of the mental chatter and brought me into a different part of my brain that wasn't that obsessive looping part of my brain. And it also brought me into the present moment. And the present moment is your most powerful place of peace. So we're going to practice that now, okay? So I want you to loosen up, release, and find yourself in your body and use your breath again. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose, and allow that breath to really bring you into your body so that you can feel what's happening in your body right now. So that might feel like tingling sensations in your arms or your fingertips or your toes. It might feel like warmth around your heart. It might feel like noticing the aches and pains that are in your body or any tightness that's there. It might feel like noticing your heart rate, your heart beating, or noticing how easy or difficult it is for you to slow your breath and take a deep breath. And as you breathe and drop into the body, I want to just offer this simple mantra with each inhale. Here I am. Exhale, I am here. Inhale, here I am. Exhale, I am here. All of your awareness and focus is pointed at your breath and the sensations and aliveness you feel in your body as you're breathing, as you're repeating those words. This very simple mantra and practice can help you empty your cup and find the present moment. Because for most of us, the stress we carry in our bodies, the tightness and the rigidity and the feeling of closing up and closing in is tied to the mental noise and chatter and stories that are happening right here about our past or about what might happen in the future. The past is behind us. The future doesn't exist. What I want to suggest to you today is that your peace and your power is found in the present moment. That emptying your cup is as simple as practicing moving yourself from past thinking or future thinking and bringing yourself deliberately through your conscious breath, through dropping into the body and the experience of the body in this moment. And that present is where that spiritual essence is found. Our spiritual essence is anchored in the present moment. And it's really the only place that that spiritual essence is accessible to us. And it's something that you feel and experience through the body. Maybe that's a paradigm shift. It certainly was for me, because I always associated my spiritual essence with being in religious places and doing religious things. But trauma taught me, when my body was so flooded with trauma that I was in chains, it became very clear over time that I had to find some way to access peace right here, right now. And I was able to find that in and through the body with simple breath, with simple mantras, without adding anything to my to-do list or my checklist. So this week, your assignment is to notice when you're in past thinking, when you're in future thinking, when your cup is full because your mind is so busy that you feel like you do not have the power to turn it off. When your emotions are so strong and powerful and reactive that you feel like you're just reacting all over the place. And to take the time to pause, to come back to this moment. I am here. Here I am. The freedom you're looking for is already within you. It's just taking the time and learning the tools to access it. not just once a week, but every day, even every moment of every day. Thank you for sharing your practice time with me today. My wish for you is that through this week, you can find your empty cup, that you can touch home in body, mind, and spirit, and find the peace that is always available to you. Thanks for practicing. I'll see you next week. If you want to get these mindfulness tips each week, we'd love to have you subscribe and turn on notifications, or even add yourself to our mailing list at lifehousefit.com. We would love to have you in our family and our community.